Good evening, everybody, and welcome into the sports show on WBON TV and also on the radio stations at Wallingford Media Group, WEKY, WKXO, and WIRV. Here with Jamie Boggs, the morning show host on another radio station, 106.7 The Pinnacle. And Jamie, so we're all excited about sports coming back. We're getting all these colleges, their athletes are coming back onto campus, which is what we'll talk to Matt Roan, the EKU athletic director, about in just a few moments. But what we're seeing is positive coronavirus tests, and that's been a sports fan's worst nightmare right now. Is that all these athletes? We heard about it a couple of weeks ago with Bama and Auburn when they first came to campus. Now we're seeing Clemson over the weekend. 23 players test positive for the coronavirus. LSU had 30 players go into quarantine. Some of them had tested positive. Others have been in contact with those guys. So it's a sports fan's worst nightmare because we're excited sports is coming back, and then boom, the hammer drops.
Yeah, I mean, the big concern first when they announced that athletes were coming back to college was, what do you do when you get a positive test? And then we're seeing 3 and 5, and like, oh, well, this is going to be something. I think most schools have protocol for that. When you start seeing numbers like 23 and 30, I think that's a whole different deal because this spreads exponentially. So if you've got a situation where these guys there are 3 of them, then you can contain that a little better than you can with 30. I think it's concerning and it's worrisome, but I think it's encouraging that they haven't shut it down completely yet. I mean, you've got, what's that, like a third or a quarter of LSU's entire team in quarantine, and the rest of them are still practicing. So it looks like they're moving forward even with these setbacks.
Well, according to Bleacher Report, not all the players in isolation have tested positive. Some are in isolation as they await their test results. And it's Shelley Malenix, who is the Senior Associate AD of Health and Wellness, told the Associated Press on Saturday, "This is what we anticipated. We planned for this. Our plan is working the way it should." And she added that none of the players have exhibited significant symptoms. And that's what we talked about last week here on the show. Is you've got, what if you feel perfectly fine and you don't even know you have it? Then what happens? I mean, because if you do have it and you're still able to go out there and perform at a high level, then it's not having an effect on you. So, I mean, I don't know what the right answer is to this, because if I feel like if I have the coronavirus, I can go out there and catch touchdowns or throw touchdowns or play defense and still be able to do what I'm supposed to be doing, then I mean, how is it affecting me other than, obviously the fact that I could give it to somebody else?
Right. And even what does that look like? You hear different reports of it can come off surfaces or it can't come off surfaces. Outside, the heat and the sun kills it. Inside, it doesn't. Or it can travel 6 feet or it can travel 21 feet. We just have no idea what's happening. Playing football, I mean, yes, you're touching each other, but you're like swollen up with pads and a helmet. There's little physical skin-to-skin contact. If so, it's an arm tackling a leg or something like that. So how much of football would make it contagious? Based on some reports, a lot. Based on some reports, maybe none. Yeah. So it's so impossible to tell the results of somebody who is positive playing the game.
Well, I've seen over the weekend that you and the boys and the family was playing travel baseball. So let's talk about what that looks like right now. How did it go? How did it look like being out there and playing the travel ball?
Don't tell Andy. Everybody's going out of state. No, legitimately, we traveled up to southeastern Ohio, and there were probably 7 teams from Madison County there. That's just kind of what people are doing. It was different. Thankfully, the fields that we went to didn't even have a dugout. There was just a bench beside the fence, so we spread tents out, and the kids would kind of sit with their families in the tent when we were on the bench. So there was no congregating of the players. We didn't shake hands. We tipped hats across the field. Other than that, it was pretty normal because baseball is not a situation where you're getting super close to people anyway. I think the sharing of the ball is one of the conversations and problems with baseball. But again, if you can't get it off surfaces, then what are you going to do? You're handing bats to one another, I guess. But we were able to spread out, and we were conscious of what was happening. When I yelled at the umpires, I stayed 6 feet away. I didn't get up in their faces like I normally do. But it was good for some normalcy, and I never felt in a situation, oh, this is not safe for us. but it still was in the back of your mind the whole time.
Yeah, and I think that's what we're getting to now is like daily normal life that we were used to beforehand. Now, every time every time somebody sticks their hand out to shake it, then you're thinking, oh, should I do that or not? I've been talking to businesses again. We're kind of getting back out and being face-to-face with some of our clients. And, I've had a couple of people stick their hand out to shake my hand. And I'm like, okay, I can't, not do this because this is a client. I don't want to make them mad, but I need to wash my hands afterwards. So that's just how it is right now. Yeah. Because we don't know. Again, it's the unknown of the coronavirus that has created this stigma in our minds of just being scared of it. And listen, I've not been worried about it because I feel like if I was to catch it, I would be fine. But it's, my 2 kids at home or, my wife's grandma who is, she could be an at-risk person. So it's things like that where we got to be worried about it more. But to see these, early 20s, 18, 19, 20-year-old athletes getting the coronavirus, having no symptoms. And I think that's the scariest part of it is I've heard so many people in the last few weeks that have tested positive and had absolutely no symptoms. They're asymptomatic, and it's just, okay, what do you do when you don't even know you have it? You feel perfectly fine, and then you test positive.
Yeah, and that's kind of the tricky part, right? Because on one hand, that's awful because you could be spreading it. On the other hand, if that many people are getting it without symptoms, isn't that good in some ways that we're not filling the hospitals with all these people? We do need to catch it. It'd be great to know who has it. Yeah. But at the same time, you got to be thankful that it's not causing more hospitalizations and deaths than it was projected to.
Well, and two, so I hear the governor say, everybody go get tested. Well, I feel perfectly fine. Why do I need to be tested?
Right.
It's that peace of mind, I guess. And, if you have had it before, then can you catch it again? I think that's the biggest question right now, because here's the thing. If you have the coronavirus and you feel fine and you show no symptoms, then you can never catch it again. Well, let's say that that's the case. Well, give it to me now. Let me have it. Let me go through the 2 weeks of quarantine and then be done with it for the rest of my life. I feel like that's the obvious answer there. Let me catch the coronavirus from somebody. I don't know how to get it, whether it's, whatever, and just get it.
You can figure it out.
Yeah. So, I mean, that might be crazy, but that sounds like the best scenario to me if that's kind of how it lays out. Now, for somebody that's sick or has been sick, obviously you don't want to do that, but I mean, there's just so much of the unknown. I'm honestly tired of talking about it, Jamie. I want my sports to come back. I want the NBA to come back. I want football in the fall. I want to watch Estill County, Madison Central, Madison Southern, and Berea. I want to see their kids back out there playing football. I want to see Tony D coaching the Pirates. I want to see Mark Centers and his team, see how they recover from, losing a player. Obviously, a very tough situation there with Emmanuel Pruitt. We're going to have an interview with Mark Centers in our next segment just talking about that situation. It has been a very hard couple of weeks for the Madison Central program and Madison County in general. So that's what we're going to turn our attention to now is just, seeing these kids back out on the field and how they recover or regroup from the coronavirus stuff, the death of a teammate, and it's just everything that's going on in the world right now. I'm excited to get sports back for that reason, a chance to kind of help all of us heal and move on.
We could see ourselves in a situation this fall where we have the NBA, Major League Baseball, NFL, college football, the Masters, the Derby's going to be going. Like, this fall could be the most compacted sports schedule that we've ever seen, which in some ways that'll be exciting. Then maybe the spring will be a letdown. I don't know. And then, or we could see a situation where some of those sports pull back. Baseball might not happen. The NBA is a little more uncertain than it was a couple of weeks ago. So we could be bombarded with sports, or we could continue to miss out. And that's the uncertainty that we've, I guess, grown accustomed to over the last few months.
The only bad thing about all that, if we did have all those sports kind of compacted together, would be I'd have to buy a new couch because I'd be sitting in the same spot and my couch might get up quicker. So that would be the only bad thing.
Worth it.
Oh, yeah. Oh, definitely. I'm ready to watch some sports. I mean, when the NBA comes back, if they've got games all day long, I might be using some personal days. So just keep that in mind, Mr. Wallingford. We've got a jam-packed sports show for you today, folks. We've got Mark Centers, the head football coach at Madison Central. We'll talk to him about how his team is dealing with the situation of losing a teammate and a player. We've also got Shannon Vanover, who is the director over at the Southern Madison Youth Football League. We'll talk about that football league and how it's getting up and get going. We've got Matt Roan, the EKU AD. We got John Clark from Madison Southern. Folks, we have got a jam-packed show. All that is coming your way when we come back on the sports show here on WBONTV.com.
Patrick O'Neill has been serving Central and Eastern Kentucky since 1995. When someone is accused of something they didn't do, or when a good person makes a mistake, they need the best representation they can find. And that's Patrick O'Neill. Whether it's criminal defense, Social Security, disability, personal injury, workers' compensation, or deeds and wills, when you need legal advice, trust the expertise of Patrick O'Neill. He will get you the money you deserve. His office is located in Jackson, but Patrick practices all over Central and Eastern Kentucky. For more information or for a free consultation, call 606-666-2990.
Who makes the best meal in Richmond? Nuevo Vallarta. Friendly service, a place that's good for kids and good for groups. Head to Nuevo Vallarta on Big Hill Avenue in Richmond. Nuevo Vallarta is known for warm hospitality, great prices, great food, and the best margaritas and fajitas in town. Doesn't a huge 32-ounce ice-cold beer sound great? Start with an appetizer, order a la carte, or choose from their huge menu of Mexican favorites for grown-ups and kids. Nuevo Vallarta on Big Hill Avenue in Richmond.
I'm Michelle. And I'm Jennifer. And in the spring of 1992, Bishop Small Engine Repair was born in our mom and dad's barn in Estill County.
Then in the fall of 1992, we made the move to Madison County, where we are today. With the support of our family, customers, and community, we have continued to grow in the outdoor power industry. With a full line of products from Cupcadet, Grasshopper, Echo, and Shindawa, we can help you tackle your yard so you can enjoy it with your family. Bishop Small Engine Repair, where our focus is our customer. Stop on in, 119 North Estill Avenue in Richmond. We can't wait to see ya.
It's been a busy year.
So what's on your to-do list?
Serious house hunting, home improvement projects, or maybe a new car or a boat for summers on the lake. For more than a century, your neighbors at Cumberland Valley National Bank have been helping turn plans into reality. Stop by any of CVNB's branch offices or visit cvnb.com and find the right personal vehicle or home loan that fits your budget and meets your needs. CVNB, local banking with big-time advantages. Member FDIC, equal housing lender.
You know, Kelly and their family has gone through so much, and you know, now here we are a little bit over a week later now, and at the point now to where we can start getting some closure with the situation. And you know, it's obviously such a tragedy, and you know, always a unique thing handling a tragedy with any situation, but especially when you're working with teenage kids. And back on the I guess the 6th and 7th and 8th, we were able to run some small group meetings. And you know, as a coach, you know, you never think that you're going to be in a situation where you know, you're excited and talking about planning for football practice and starting up and or conditioning as it is, and you never imagine that when you have one of those meetings that and you're planning for 7 or 8 days later that one of those young men is not going to come back. Our seniors are such a tight-knit group, and they have you know, they've either played with or against Manny since 6th grade, and that's not only football. You know, back in middle school, a lot of the kids played, you know, went from football to basketball to track or baseball or whatever, and you know, Manny was a very good basketball player in middle school and football player as well, and ran track and did a few times, different things like that early on. And so then once he got to high school, you know, he settled in with our program and obviously did a great job in earning his way into a very significant role with our team. So, you know, the thing that I always loved about Manny is you know, my opportunities to get a chance to talk with him and cut up with him, and he just flashed that big smile that everybody's been talking about, and it's the truth. You know, that's one of the things that we will all hold tight to us and cherish the most is that smile that he would flash, and you know, he a good friend to so many, a good teammate, and around us and coaches, you know, just a fantastically respectful young man, and all of those things that you know, he represented our program the right way. of course Kelly has been a team, part of our parent organization, and such a huge part of all these kids' lives. They feel a very close connection to her as well, because she, for the last 4 years, she's helped feed them multiple times a week and take care of them, and that's just here at football. That's not counting outside at home and things. So I keep going back to, it's the most odd situation, because our hearts are broken, but they are absolutely full because of the outpouring of support from everyone around, and not just, the community has been fantastic. The Madison Central family has been fantastic, and football programs all around sending out things, but all of those volunteers and everybody who helped to take care of the family and their needs while they were waiting and just waiting minute by minute, and feeding them, bringing in meals 3 times a day and providing for them in those type of ways, and then especially the search crews. I mean, all those men out there on that water, all those individuals out there on that water, there are most of them volunteers, and the amount of time and effort that they put in to this effort to make sure that we were able to get the right closure for this situation. It's just, you can't say enough about the hearts of these people. It's been amazing. There have been some really good suggestions coming up, and continue to be some suggestions coming. The thing that we want to make sure that we're doing is, like with everything else, is cautiously going through that process. I want us to be able to, again, there's a lot of great ideas coming and from all kinds of different sources. But what I'm trying to do is just kind of compile those and keep some notes and keep a mental list of those things going. And when the time is right, and we have an opportunity, and I have an opportunity to sit down with Kelly, I want her to have a voice in those things, and really be able to say, I like this, or I would like that. And, again, all of the ideas that have been coming towards me have been really, really good. But I think that it's important that we do that in a very specific manner and a planned out manner. And so that those things will come as we have an opportunity to work through that. The situation with Manny has definitely shown, that the community values, not only our football program, but each other and the school as a whole. And, there has been a huge outpouring of support from the community, and people wrapping their arms around the family and us as a football family too. And that's extremely important in all the time. But it's especially important in times like these, and with all the things that are going on in the world, and all the changes that are happening in the world, and it is a really special thing for me to see so many coming together, and just wrapping their arms around each other, and that in itself, I think, says a lot about Richmond. I think it says a lot about what we've got here at Madison Central as a school community, and it obviously also says a whole lot about Manny and the family as well.
We're with Shannon Vanover of the Southern Madison Youth Football League. And Shannon, first of all, just kind of give us a rundown of how things work over there with the football league over in Southern Madison County.
Well, we have 2 different age groups for tackle. We have 8 through 11 years old for that, and then we have 4 years old to 8-year-old. We have the flag leagues.
Talk about how this league became about, and how long have you all been around?
We've been around a while. We traveled. We had travel teams in the beginning, and we traveled for several years. And we decided it would just be better to stay home and get more kids involved, and actually have some teams and play some tackle football right here in Berea.
Now, for your league, does somebody have to live in Berea in order to play in your league?
No, they do not. They do not have to live in Berea. They don't even have to live in Madison County. We'll take kids from any county that are willing and want to learn the game of football and have some fun. So
let's talk about the league. You said you had a couple of different divisions. How many teams do you have per year, and where can people go to get more information about it?
Well, we have a website on Facebook, Southern Madison Youth Football League. We're hoping to have 6 tackle teams this season. It'll be according to how many kids we get to sign up and come out and play. Same thing for the flag leagues. That we should have 6 to 8 teams there. We play all of our games here locally. We play at Madison Southern High School. We play at Ferristown Middle School. We not only play on Saturdays. This year we're trying to make it a little bit different for families and actually offer some games maybe on a Tuesday or a Thursday instead of having to, be dedicated to play every Saturday.
Now, I know with a league like this, it takes a lot of people to be involved. Do you all ever need more coaches, more volunteers? Is there a place that people can go to get more involved with something like this?
Oh, we will definitely. We won't turn anybody away that's willing to volunteer and help out. We'll always find something that needs to be done, and we have a good core group that's been here for a long time. And our president is Brandon Sandlin, and I'm the vice president. And we try our best if someone's wanting to get involved to let them get out there and help with the kids in any way that we could possibly get help.
Now, before we let you go, let's talk about the upcoming year. I know you all are having registration the last couple of weeks. Talk about that and how people can get involved right now for the upcoming season.
Well, our last sign-up day is going to be July the 11th. We post it every week on our website, like I said, on Facebook. Excuse me. And it's under Southern Madison Youth Football League here in Berea. And we usually do the sign-ups down here at the Berea Community entrance to the park, or we'll do it at the skate park here in Berea. We will have on July the 11th, like I said, will be the last sign-up day, and that day will also be our combine. And that gives us a chance to get the kids together and play some games and put them through some drills and let some of the coaches look and see, possibly who they might want to draft to put on their teams and so forth. So July the 11th will be our last sign-up day, and we hope to see everybody come out and sign their kids up and have a great season.
Now, do you have a date for the draft and possibly a date for when the games will start?
Our draft day, we'll get all the coaches together after July the 11th. We will probably have another little scenario that we'll do with the kids, and we'll have a blind draft, and each kid will get a number, and we usually do it that way. And well, like I said, it's according to how many kids we have come out, but we're hoping to have at least 6 to 8 teams in tackle this season and try to get as many kids out as we can get out.
And as far as the start date, do you have one for the season yet?
Our games will probably start latter part of August, maybe even the 1st of September. Give the kids plenty enough time to get used to their equipment and their coaches and get some practice time under their belt, and then we'll start our games in.
All right, one more time before we let you go, give that Facebook page once again.
Our Facebook page is Southern Madison Youth Football League here in Berea, Kentucky, and we look forward to hearing from you. And bring your kids out. Let's have a good season and have some fun.
All right, sir. We appreciate your time.
Thank you, sir.
Patrick O'Neill has been serving Central and Eastern Kentucky since 1995. When someone is accused of something they didn't do, or when a good person makes a mistake, they need the best representation they can find. And that's Patrick O'Neill. Whether it's criminal defense, Social Security, disability, personal injury, workers' compensation, or deeds and wills, when you need legal advice, trust the expertise of Patrick O'Neill. He will get you the money you deserve. His office is located in Jackson, but Patrick practices all over Central and Eastern Kentucky. For more information or for a free consultation, call 606-666-2990.
Who makes the best meal in Richmond? Nuevo Vallarta. Friendly service, a place that's good for kids and good for groups. Head to Nuevo Vallarta on Big Hill Avenue in Richmond. Nuevo Vallarta is known for warm hospitality, great prices, great food, and the best margaritas and fajitas in town. Doesn't a huge 32-ounce ice-cold beer sound great? Start with an appetizer, order a la carte, or choose from their huge menu of Mexican favorites for grown-ups and kids. Nuevo Vallarta on Big Hill Avenue in Richmond.
I'm Michelle. And I'm Jennifer. And in the spring of 1992, Bishop Small Engine Repair was born in our mom and dad's barn in Estill County.
Then in the fall of 1992, we made the move to Madison County, where we are today. With the support of our family, customers, and community, we have continued to grow in the outdoor power industry. With a full line of products from Cupcadet, Grasshopper, Echo, and Shindawa, we can help you tackle your yard so you can enjoy it with your family. Bishop Small Engine Repair, where our focus is our customer. Stop on in, 119 North Estill Avenue in Richmond. We can't wait to see ya.
It's been a busy year.
So what's on your to-do list?
Serious house hunting, home improvement projects, or maybe a new car or a boat for summers on the lake. For more than a century, your neighbors at Cumberland Valley National Bank have been helping turn plans into reality. Stop by any of CVNB's branch offices or visit cvnb.com and find the right personal vehicle or home loan that fits your budget and meets your needs. CVNB, local banking with big-time advantages. Member FDIC, equal housing lender.
Here with Matt Roan, the athletic director at EKU. And Matt, first of all, you took over in early January, and then everything just seemed to kind of fall apart. Just talk about how things have gone since you took over as the AD at EKU.
Yeah, I was joking with someone the other day that about 3 weeks after I started on campus, we just decided we weren't going to have athletic events anymore. But it's certainly been a unique time. I was fortunate enough to be able to go with our men's basketball team to Evansville, where we won a quarterfinal game. Obviously ended up getting beat in the semifinals, but really the week after the OVC tournament's really when all this started happening. I look at kind of the middle of that week. I think it was around March the 10th or the 11th when tournaments were canceled, and then gradually and progressively, activities are canceled. Athletic competitions are canceled. Recruiting is not permitted off of campus, and finally we got to a point in early June where we're starting to see something that looks like normalcy return to our campus, and we couldn't be more excited about that.
Well, let's talk about that. So some of these athletes have been able to come back. Some of the ones that lived closer came back, I think you said June the 8th, and then you've been kind of going through that process over the last few days as well, and you're going to begin workouts this week too. So just talk about how all that's going and what it's been like just seeing these players come in and what kind of guidelines you all are using to keep them safe, your coaches and everybody else involved.
So I will give all the credit in the world to our staff, whether it's Jeff Carrico with sports medicine, John Michael Davis in our sport performance, Mark Howard, one of my chief deputies, and having oversight of those areas, and then certainly Brian Mackin and so many people on campus. I mean, it has been a team effort. It's been a complete collaboration. And, we really started looking at this several weeks ago. This isn't just something that we've planned for in the last week or two, but this is about a month and a half coming, knowing that June 1 was going to bring some normalcy again and some permissive opportunities to do some things. And so what we've been trying to do, Michael, is a phased-in approach. Certainly we didn't want to bring every student back or student-athlete back at one time. We knew that this was going to be an opportunity for us to, evaluate them for clearance, to monitor daily, make sure that we're adhering to an abundance of the health and safety protocols, not just from the federal government, state government, local government, health organizations, NCAA, OVC. I mean, there's so many different things, and you're hearing phase 1, phase 2, phase 3 being used by all of those. So there's a lot of data that we've mined through, a lot of recommendations, guidance, rules, and I'm very, very proud of our staff where they've gotten us to this point where we were able to bring back again in that first phase those local student athletes last week, and there were probably somewhere between 20 and 30 that were here that were starting to resume voluntary activities. And we'll continue that now with more football and men's basketball student athletes. A couple of our programs elected to come back a little bit later, but football and men's basketball have chosen to come back right now. And we're going to be full speed ahead with those voluntary activities until some point, we believe, in early July, when what we call summer access, but it's more sports-specific activities that you can do up to a certain number of hours per week that will resume those hopefully in early July and leading into training camps resuming in late July and early August.
Where are the students going to be staying at? Are they going to be staying on campus? Do they have to have an apartment off campus? What are the guidelines with where they are allowed to stay as normal, where they would normally be in a dorm room?
You will see both. You'll see student athletes who would have normally lived off campus. They'll continue to live off campus. Those that would live on campus, they are living on campus now in Grand Campus. But we've been able to make sure that we're giving them ample space. So we're able to practice social distancing inside that living arrangement as well. And, we're moving groups in and out. They're moving on campus in pods, no groups of 10 or more. And that's not just true in the weight room, but that's true really all across campus and certainly in their living arrangements as well.
So Walt Wills in his first year as head coach, I mean, he's had to go through this same thing. You and him kind of came in together. So let's talk about that and how your relationship with him has kind of had to be put on hold because you've had to do Zoom meetings with him in your first couple of months of working together. So talk about that and your relationship with him.
My relationship with Walt has always been a positive one. And I think we hit the ground running because we did have the chance to get to know one another, to become familiar with one another back in that 2015 season when our times overlapped. And with Walt, you're exactly right. It's an unusual year for him. He's one of very few first-year head coaches, probably ever, that has not had a chance to go through spring ball and to really get acquainted with his team throughout this spring. But I will give them all the credit in the world. They've made sure that they made contact with our team. They've stayed on top of them from an academic standpoint, making sure that they're taking care of their business. That way, when we do return, we were able to hit the ground running. And I'm excited to watch Walt this fall. I think he will tell you, leaving here, having the opportunity to be an offensive line coach at the University of Tennessee, to come back and to work with Mark Stoops. And really, I think there's where he understood or maybe grew to realize, hey, I'm capable of being a head coach now. Some of the things that he learned watching the administration and the organization of that program. I'm excited to watch him bring, his passion and his familiarity with EKU combined with those experiences at other places to Roy Kidd Stadium this fall and see the results that he's able to produce. But we have high expectations and really, really excited about the future with him in charge of that program.
Let's talk about Roy Kidd Stadium. Well, what are you hearing as far as guidelines go about fans being able to attend games in the fall? I mean, I've heard 50 different scenarios. So what are you hearing as far as where you stand with having fans enter Roy Kidd Stadium this year?
If you've heard 50 scenarios, you've heard a fraction of what I've heard. There's too many to probably to tell. The one thing that I'll say, and I kind of qualified everything, and one of my friends has noted this, but time is still on our side. That opening weekend, week one, doesn't start until Thursday, September 3rd, and then folks will play on September the 5th that weekend. But time is definitely on our side, and we've seen, how much has changed from the middle of March until now. There's certainly going to be a lot of change between the middle of June and that first part of September. But I credit to our staff. I mean, we've discussed scenarios where, Roy Kidd Stadium could have an individual and they have to have that 6-foot radius around them. So what that could look like, what 50% capacities could look like, 25% capacities could look like. I think the bottom line, and I think where I'm probably most convinced is I truly do believe that we have football and we have our fall sports that start on time. It's just what that looks like is still to be determined. But either way, whether it's 15,000 plus in there or somewhere below that, we're still excited to get our fans in here and put a good product on the field.
Well, let's take the pandemic scenario out of it. I mean, what are you going to try to do to get the fans in the stadium this year? I mean, new coach, still a lot of positive energy coming around a program that had a good ending to the year last year. Didn't make the playoffs, but you were trending in the right direction. So let's take the coronavirus pandemic out of the equation. What is EKU going to do this year to try to get those fans who love to tailgate to make the transition from the tailgate parking lot over to Roy Kidd Stadium?
Yeah, I think using 2 E words, and we tend to do that a lot in kind of our external verticals of kind of embracing that, but we want to engage and create an experience. And so we're looking at some ways to really kind of return to a grassroots marketing approach. And as well as I do, that's really worked for Coach Hamilton, kind of that direct appeal to our fan base and saying, hey, we need you here. We need you in Roy Kidd Stadium, just like we need you in Alumni Coliseum. And so we want to get creative. We want to kind of return back to that grassroots approach to employ Coach Wells, his staff, his student athletes, our staff, to make sure that we're blanketing Richmond, Madison County, and beyond with information, literature, letting people know how much their support means to us, and how they're the difference often in winning or losing. I mean, you get that third down stop when the people are on their feet and they're being loud. I mean, that absolutely makes a difference. And so I can't overstate that enough, how much we want to be engaging. We want to make sure that our fan base, our alums, those who have supported the Colonels for a long time, maybe they took a break for a little bit. We need to make sure that we're as strong as we can possibly be. And then when you get into that venue, we want to change some things that we're doing, whether it's the team entrance, whether it's the music that we play, we're analyzing all that type of stuff. And so the one thing that I'll say, I know we talked about, kind of keeping the pandemic out of it. We really went into this kind of with, I think, a positive spin. Kind of going into this, we went in one way, and our task as a staff, a support staff, and as administration is how can we emerge from this different than we went in? How can we emerge from this better than we went in? And so we've analyzed, our ticketing approach, our sponsorship sales approach, our marketing, our sports information, really the way that we conduct our business. Not having games and not having events makes you do a lot of kind of a review of yourself, right? An introspective approach to the way that we're conducting our business. And so we've been able to do that, albeit remotely. And I think you're going to see some changes in and around the stadium this year that we think will be for the better.
All right, well, let's talk about what the next few weeks look like. What is your job going to look like the next few weeks between now and trying to get the other students back on campus and getting ready for not only football, but other fall sports?
No, you're right. And, again, like I said, with football and men's basketball, those were kind of the ones that we led off with. But certainly, some of our cross-country student athletes, they're training at altitude and kind of training around the world even for that matter right now. But we're looking at soccer. We're looking at volleyball, how we get them back. Certainly our women's basketball program, how we get them back when they're ready. And we have plans for all of that. But then you kind of get into that part for us as an administration of not just kind of putting out information, but putting out plans. How do we continue to stress, hey, buy your season tickets. These are our group plan options. These are what sponsorship sales are going to look like inside the stadium. And so all of that is just kind of a day-by-day, a work in progress. And but I think as you see the calendar turn to July, the more time and the closer that we get to that opener and the fall sports resuming, the more concrete details and plans we're going to be able to put out there to our fans.
Well, before we let you go, what would you tell fans that are worried about the pandemic or worried about, keeping their not only their student athletes safe, but their kids that are going to be maybe attending the games? What would you tell them to give them kind of a peace of mind going into the fall season?
We're, because of the collaborative effort, the integration that athletics has with the rest of the institution, I think you have a kind of a meeting of the minds. And so we know that we're going to put things into place that are going to mitigate as much risk and exposure as we possibly can to our fans. The one thing that I'll say, I think it's all a case-by-case basis. And, Michael Watkins may be more or less concerned than Matt Roan is. And I'm not ever going to be insensitive to what Michael Watkins might feel as to his comfort level to come inside Roy Kidd Stadium or our soccer complex or Alumni Coliseum, you name it. But if you do have that comfort level, what I can say is that I hope that you will come. I hope that you will bring your family. There will be, I think, a new normal moving forward. But the thing that I can't stress enough is just how much we need you. We need our fan base to ignite and to kind of rally around us. This place is full of tradition, but I also want us to be innovative. I want us to create new traditions. I want us to kind of become this new leader among our peers and among our region. Because I know Eastern is capable of special things. Because of the quality of people and the special people that we have, and that's inside of our building and that's in our community with our fans as well.
Well, Matt, I appreciate your time today. I think everybody is happy to hear the news about athletes being back on campus, and we're happy to get sports back in the fall. It's looking clearer and clearer every day that is the direction that we are heading. We're hoping that everything works out, and that is the case. So we appreciate your time today. Is there anything else you'd like to touch on before we let you go?
No, I appreciate it, Michael. And just like you, when we had the chance yesterday to visit with our student athletes and we had them spaced out in AC, kind of doing an orientation, I said, being an athletics director is not a lot of fun when you don't have athletics to direct. And so I can't say enough just how excited we are to have them back. And, that has been our singular focus, or the health and welfare of our student athletes. And now more than ever, our attention is going to start shifting to the health and welfare of our fans. Because again, with the quality of people inside of our building with coaches and student athletes combined with the fan base and the passion that we have, we can do something special here.
Have you guys started selling tickets yet, or is that kind of coming very soon, or what's
they are on sale. Everything is on sale. Certainly, we're still within our renewal period. So if you have any questions, please don't hesitate to contact our ticket office. Griff Brixey, Raymond White, Grant Stepp, myself, all of us collectively, we can answer any questions that anybody may have. And let's pack it out, whether that's at full capacity or half. Let's make sure that we can sell that thing out this year.
All right, and then for more updates, folks, if you'd like to keep up with what's going on at EKU, it's EKUsports.com all the time. Check that website daily to get updates on what's going on with the teams and with the athletics program there as well. Matt, I appreciate your time. Look forward to speaking with you soon, and look forward to some football in the fall, my man.
Sounds good, Michael. I appreciate the time always. Thank you, man.
Thank you, sir.
Patrick O'Neill has been serving Central and Eastern Kentucky since 1995. When someone is accused of something they didn't do, or when a good person makes a mistake, they need the best representation they can find. And that's Patrick O'Neill. Whether it's criminal defense, Social Security, disability, personal injury, workers' compensation, or deeds and wills, when you need legal advice, trust the expertise of Patrick O'Neill. He will get you the money you deserve. His office is located in Jackson, but Patrick practices all over Central and Eastern Kentucky. For more information or for a free consultation, call 606-666-2990.
Who makes the best meal in Richmond? Nuevo Vallarta. Friendly service, a place that's good for kids and good for groups. Head to Nuevo Vallarta on Big Hill Avenue in Richmond. Nuevo Vallarta is known for warm hospitality, great prices, great food, and the best margaritas and fajitas in town. Doesn't a huge 32-ounce ice-cold beer sound great? Start with an appetizer, order a la carte, or choose from their huge menu of Mexican favorites for grown-ups and kids. Nuevo Vallarta on Big Hill Avenue in Richmond.
I'm Michelle. And I'm Jennifer. And in the spring of 1992, Bishop Small Engine Repair was born in our mom and dad's barn in Estill County.
Then in the fall of 1992, we made the move to Madison County, where we are today. With the support of our family, customers, and community, we have continued to grow in the outdoor power industry. With a full line of products from Cub Cadet, Grasshopper, Echo, and Shindawa, we can help you tackle your yard so you can enjoy it with your family. Bishop Small Engine Repair, where our focus is our customer. Stop on in, 119 North Estill Avenue in Richmond. We can't wait to see ya.
It's been a busy year.
So what's on your to-do list?
Serious house hunting, home improvement projects, or maybe a new car or a boat for summers on the lake. For more than a century, your neighbors at Cumberland Valley National Bank have been helping turn plans into reality. Stop by any of CVNB's branch offices or visit cvnb.com and find the right personal vehicle or home loan that fits your budget and meets your needs. CVNB, local banking with big-time advantages. Member FDIC, equal housing lender.
We're here with Coach John Clark of the Madison Southern Eagles. And, Coach, it's been about a month or so since we talked. And the last time we talked, we didn't know what was going on with sports. We're starting to see a little bit of a light at the end of the tunnel with how things are going. And you guys are back to work with the student athletes. You started Camp SOAR, and I think you said this is year 10 of that, which is awesome.
Yeah, well, it's year 10 for me. It's our first year to do Camp SOAR as an athletic department.
Okay.
We have always done – with our football team, we've always done something called Eagle University for our incoming freshmen. This was the first year that we all came together as head coaches and said, hey, this is different. We're coming back to school at a different time, a different world with these kids. Let's get together and let's work together and we all want to make an impact. It was a really cool meeting, actually. I initially had with several of them, and everybody said, why are you doing this? Why are you coaching? And everybody wanted to make a difference more than just winning. We said, well, we have a great staff of coaches. Let's make a difference together. Let's utilize each other's strengths. Let's build out this camp to really do what we're trying to do with kids and not just sports. And it's been awesome.
Well, I know the last time we talked about the administration over there, and I feel like that with the coaching the coaches that you all had at the school, that everybody kind of has their own leeway to do certain things. But for you all to come together on this, it just kind of shows that you all are all in for Madison Southern.
Yeah, and the way it happened was really interesting because, we do Eagle University every year, and we can't touch a ball for 2 weeks. And I started talking to some of my staff. I said, we need to really redo Eagle University with our kids, which is character building and leadership and discussing diversity and racism and how it affects other people. And then you factor in all the things going on in the world today. I mean, these kids are coming back to an entirely different world than what they left in March. And a lot of people are scared to hit these issues. Well, good people shouldn't be scared to talk about the issues. because these kids need good people to talk about these issues and help them figure them out. So I know Coach Langfeld's our baseball coach. He was doing the energy bus book study with his team when their season was cut short. Coach Newton, you've seen his Man Up Mondays and all the things that he does. We're always talking about all these things we're doing. So we just came together and said, what if we're all doing similar things? Let's do it together. What if we got together, the whole athletic department, and did this? So we started talking about our sports originally. And then we realized, like, we have a lot of good coaches at our school. Let's see if everybody would be interested in doing this. Let's talk to Jay Simmons, our AD. He was behind it. All the sports wanted to jump in. And next thing you know, what we didn't even really envision from the beginning was, I think we have like 10 sports and 200 kids on campus going through these trainings and these, we have a strength coach. And not a lot of high schools have a strength coach as good as Corey Chapman is. I mean, he's a certified strength and conditioning coach. And he's working with every one of our athletes right now to get them all a baseline to where they can go fully back into sports to minimize injury where, kids have been gone. So just the way it's all meshing together is, this isn't going on anywhere that I know of. Yeah. Very cool that our whole athletic department, the coaches, are all working together towards a common cause for kids.
Well, so talk about what Camp SOAR is. So it's not just, putting some weights out there and having weights or running, or you all are teaching them about life and about how to get back in shape and all. It's not just, kind of a working out thing.
Absolutely. So here's what we have. We can only have 60 kids on campus at a time per our district and school rules. So what we're doing is all kids are split into groups of 10, and we're calling them a pod of 10. So we have morning group A that is 60 kids in pods of 10. And morning group B is after them, 60 kids, pods of 10. Then we have evening A and evening B. So we have 4 rotations going on at school. While 3 of the pods are on the field working out with Coach Chapman, we're doing everything outside, no equipment. It's all balance, core strengthening, plyometric training, athletic-based developments, mobility training, your body movement in space, conditioning, things they need to get a baseline for sports without creating injury. While they're on the field, the other group is in the classroom in 3 different classrooms covering a presentation that's been given by different head coaches every day. So the first day was Coach Langfeld, and he covered there's 8 types of team culture. And the kids in their group had to identify, what is your team culture right now? Why is it that way? What relationships amongst you have led to it becoming that way? But what do you want it to be? What do you strive for it to become? And how do we get there? And then when they're done on the field and done in the classroom, we switch the groups. So every kid's getting field training, athletic development. Every kid's getting, the first day was team culture. Yesterday, I hit on culture in our building and how it relates to racism and discrimination, where it is, what needs to change. And we brought some light to some things that the kids realize they can have a big impact and make Madison Southern a better school. Social media is going to be covered by Coach Newton on Monday. Health, like sleeping, nutrition, fitness, eating right. We're just hitting a lot of main topics that these kids really need to dive into right now.
Let's talk about your football team. So you've been able to talk to the guys now and kind of get a plan moving forward. We still don't know what the season will look like, but it's looking like there will be a season. So let's talk about kind of what you and the team are doing right now to kind of prepare outside of what Camp SOAR is, what you and the team are talking about doing to get ready for the season.
Well, up until Camp SOAR, we were doing virtual meetings. So we meet with our guys on Monday was defensive meetings by position groups. So your linebackers would be in a meeting, your D-line's in a meeting, and our secondary would be in a meeting. They were able to watch film, talk about base coverages, fits, reads, really break down some of the finer points. Tuesday, we met on offense. Offense would be the O-line, tight ends in a meeting, the receiver skill guys in a meeting. We're breaking down our offense from last year, run plays, schemes, reading defenses. We did that up until Camp SOAR. Right now, honestly, it's about meshing our team again. I'm a big fit guy. From day one, the environment in your locker room and this within your team is way more valuable than any scheme you can play or any rep with the ball. I've always felt that way. So probably, Michael, honestly, it has a lot to do with why we play well in districts and in the playoffs, and maybe not early in the year, because I feel like it takes us till mid-season to get the true mesh of the chemistry in the locker room right, because we don't have them all summer long every single day, because there's basketball breaks and there's dead period. So it takes us a while to get to that point. We're working on that right now. We're working on getting their bodies into shape and just getting them excited to be there again and getting the chemistry right, because they've been away from each other for 3 to 4 months. Chemistry's lost in 3 to 4 months.
Have you had any players voice concerns about the virus, or, talk about maybe the guidelines you're taking to keep your players safe?
Good question. I haven't had anybody bring up the virus in anything we're doing because we're doing so much. Our procedures, you'd be floored. Like, you don't get out of the car till the coach comes over and tells you to get out. You line up 6 feet apart. Everybody's got a mask on. Coaches wear masks all day. The kids have them when they're lining up and when they're indoors. We disinfect their hands first thing. We take their temperatures. They fill out a survey with a QR code that they scan, and they fill out a survey on how they feel. We are monitoring everything before you walk in a building, before you go out to condition. There's no high-fiving. There's no touching. There's no sharing of water. They bring their own stuff. In the classroom, desks are 6 feet apart. There's only 10 in a room. We disinfect between groups. I mean, I think Madison Southern is probably one of the cleanest places in the state of Kentucky right now. So safety-wise, if you have a temperature of 100 or more, you're sent home. And then you're monitored from that point on with your parents. So I've actually had people tell us, thank you for going so far above and beyond to do these things. And that's not been a concern at all at this point.
Well, you talked about Jay earlier, and he was in the video that you all made.
Yeah.
Talking about his acting skills. We got to help that guy out, man. If he's going to be in front of a camera, we got to help him.
Jay is always in the middle of 5 other things as the AD while you're talking to him about one thing. So he was in the middle of doing some stuff, and we just came out of nowhere and grabbed him for it. I think we caught him off guard. Man, he's been fantastic. We're transitioning principals right now.
Yeah.
James Ray's our new principal, which is all, James was the head soccer coach at the same time I came in as the football coach. So we've worked together quite a bit, and then he was our assistant principal. So very excited to have him. Like, unbelievable that he's back at Southern. But Jay's had a lot of hats he's wearing in the last couple of weeks. So when we kind of came to him and said, we want to do this, for him to take on something else to do this camp was a lot. He's been awesome. He's funny, man. He's got such that Southern accent. It's funny.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Wear your mask. I love it. It's really good.
Yeah. And listen, I love giving Jay a hard time. Back when we had the basketball game in the winter, I called him out and I told him I was going to eat him up. I got a couple of stills on him. I let him know about it too. So I like having fun with Jay. Well, so is there anything that you're hearing about the upcoming season? Again, we've heard 10, 15 different options, maybe more than that. So
it's the same with us still. Nobody knows. Sounds like the doomsday plan is football could move to spring. That sounds like pretty consistent. That sounds like if we have to pull the plug on all this, that's what would happen. The consensus I hear that to me, it's less what I hear and more what I think, just because, we all don't really know. I do think season would be condensed. It's June 17th. We can't touch a football. Yeah. How are we going to go smack each other in the mouth and do dog piles in 2 months? I just don't see it happening. I don't see starting on time in August happening, especially when you can't touch a ball. Like, what's going to change between now and August that they're going to gradually ease restrictions. They're not going to go, okay, go for it. Yeah. It's hard enough with the football team. I was talking to one of my administrators the other day is, MRSA and staph infection. Every coach in the state battles that when one kid gets it, or the flu when school starts back. One kid gets sick, your whole team's sick because they're teenage boys. You got to force them to take their stuff home and clean them. We disinfect our locker room on a daily basis with a sprayer at Southern, have for years. How am I going to police all of that and COVID when we can't even do anything without taking a temperature and wearing a mask? You can't play a football game with a mask on your mouth. You just can't do it. And we're talking a face-to-face, like we've mentioned before. I don't know. I do think, not speaking for the KHSA, obviously, but, there needs to be some sort of income from sports, or there's going to be an issue there. And athletic departments have to have income to bus kids. So I don't know. I personally don't think decisions will be made on fall sports until school decisions are made first, though. I don't know how you plan a season when you don't even know when school's going to start back or what's going to happen.
Well, Coach, we know it's obviously a tough situation over at Madison Central with Emmanuel Pruitt missing. They found his body, and it's just been a very hard situation to follow. Just kind of touch on that and kind of what you think the Central folks are, having to deal with right now with everything that's going on over there.
Our heart goes out to that program, his family. Levi Benton is a linebacker on our team. He was Manny's cousin. His mom is Manny's mother's sister. So they've been right in the thick of it. So many boys on our team knew Manny, loved him. Man, you talk about a kid that people loved him. It's a heartbreaking situation. I talked to Coach Centers a couple days ago, pretty long conversation just about what they're going through and how, you know, we're talking about how you do this long enough, you have these things happen in your programs, you lose kids. We've lost kids since I've been here. And no matter what the situation is, it's never easy. The thing that's hard about it is there's nothing that you can say, nothing you can do to make it better. And it sucks that kids have to learn to deal with these things at such a young age, but that's all you can do is be there for them, help them learn to manage the situations. But it's sad, man. We were sitting at dinner the other night. My wife was sitting there, and our kids got up and left, and she said, "I just can't stop thinking about that boy." And our son's here with us at dinner, and it's heart-wrenching, man. We've prayed for him every night. I know a lot of people have. I'm so happy they found him. The relief of just having some closure to that, I think, is unbelievable. And our hearts go out to them. And I've talked to Coach Centers, anything they need, we're going to be here for them. And it's hit our team too.
Well,
it really has.
I think that's something that people don't realize. You guys, Central Southern, it doesn't get a bigger rivalry than that, but you have that relationship off the field where you have the respect and you know that this is something that it's hard to deal with. So I wanted to kind of put that out there. I appreciate you talking about how things are going over there. And listen, this is a community thing too. This did not only hit Richmond, it hit Madison County very hard.
Yeah.
Situation like this. So continue to keep that family in your thoughts and prayers.
We will. And it's really hard it's hard to wrap your brain around it when you have kids, isn't it?
Yeah. It makes
these things are never easy.
Makes you want to hug your kids tighter every night and protect them even more than maybe you already do.
Yeah, it's a hard enough time for kids and everybody right now. For all of them to have to deal with this as I told Coach Centers, it's a good thing they can start to get around their team again because they're going to need each other. It's really important right now.
Well, Coach, before we let you go, kind of tell the folks what the next 2 months is going to look like for your team as, again, you guys prepare for the unknown still about what the season may look like, but what are the next couple of months going to look like for you all?
So here's what we've got. We're in Camp SOAR for another week. So we're going to go up so we're doing 6 sessions together as an entire athletic department. And then I'm going to do 2 additional days with just our program. We think by then we're going to have some guidelines probably come down again from the KHSA that can tell us we can open some things up or not. I'll give our kids off the week around the 4th. No matter what, it's just something we're going to do here, even with or without a dead period. And our plan will be to come back after that week. What we do after that really depends. Are we allowed to come out of pods of 10? I don't know. Maybe 50 or less. If that's the case, am I going to have to make cuts? I've never had to do that before. These are things I'm really having to consider right now. We've always set over 50 kids. So what do? I'm trying to wait till I know before I plan. I've just kind of told our kids and parents, everybody needs to be patient with us. You're going to have that week around the 4th off. I'll know more about that next week afterwards, but until we get more feedback from the KHSA, I really don't know what we're going to be able to do. So we're supposed to play in 2 months, but we're in wait mode still, man.
Exactly. Well, it's definitely a rough time for anybody. And, the coaches that I've been speaking to, I've been telling them, listen, you all are having to work overtime. Your job is completely different now than it ever has been because you've got to worry about the team. You got to worry about the safety of your team and your coaches. And then eventually you're going to have to worry about the safety of your fans. You're going to have to mark off certain bleachers that you can't sit in to keep people, socially distanced. And you're going to have to worry about maybe having a different entrance and exit. I mean, it's going to be a lot more than just coaching your team this year by the time things get, back to where we know what we're going to be doing.
And then on top of that, what we've stressed here is, and what I just can't get away from is, how do you expect kids to think about football with the world going on the way it is around them? Like, we can't just, do they need a distraction? Yes. But I think as coaches, to think that we can just cram a ball down their throat right now in plays and schemes and think that there's not bigger issues going on would be crazy. So we're light on the football right now, and we're going to lean in more towards, chemistry, mentoring, and conditioning until we're where we need to be with those things.
Well, Coach Clark, I appreciate your time. I know it's still a crazy time right now, but again, you got the team back out there. You got student athletes back out there with you all, and that's at least some good news as we enter into the summer. And hopefully in the next couple of months, we've got even more good news and get to see you guys out there going for another district championship, regional championship, and maybe even another chance at a state championship this year.
Thanks, man. I know our kids are excited. You talk about being pumped up to be back in the building, man. They're jacked. So it's been fun to watch them all interact amongst the other sports too with our camp. So all our kids at Madison Southern are excited. They're really dialed in right now. It's a fun time.
All right, that's John Clark, the head coach of the Madison Southern Football Eagles.